everyone, and welcome back to another video at my YouTube channel and blog. Today I'm coloring up this cute little Holstein cow called Brenda Bovine from Koala Crafts. It's this month's challenge Digi, and there'll be a link for that in the video description below. Sorry for my phone, I got a text. Anyway, so I'm using Copic colors, markers to color this up today, and I briefly showed them in a bunch. It doesn't take a whole lot of different colors to color one of these cows, so that's the good thing. Don't need a whole lot of markers. I will have all the marker colors and all the other products that I use listed over on my blog, and only in the quality craft information will be listed in the video description below. So just using my cool grays to color up Miss Brenda Bovine, and I'm just going to show you a few of the spots here, how I colored them, and then I'll speed it up to color the rest of the spots and everything. I do want to point out this is a mistake that I made. I colored the nostrils in before I colored the muzzle of the little cow. And this is a mistake because the muzzle is a lighter color, and I drug some of that, dark black color into my muzzle, and so I had some problems with that. I probably should have also colored the white part of the cow first before I colored the spots, because I did have a little bit of the same kind of issues. So learn from my mistakes and color your light areas first and color your dark areas last. And that way you won't have any of these issues of dragging a little bit of that dark color into your lighter sections. And you'll see when that happens here in a bit. But yes, you do color white because you want to put in the shadows, or else it'll just look very flat. So yes, you always have to color white. And I just used the lighter shades of my cool grays to do that with. I did actually use a little bit of black 100 in doing the darkest parts of the black on the cow, and I think that really added to the depth of those black parts. And I did also use my colorless blender quite a lot because I wanted to blend out those edges of the light gray in the white parts of the cow. That looks really dark right now, but as that colorless blender dries, that will lighten up, and there will be an actual white highlight on the front of that leg. Now the back legs I did color in a little bit more solid with my light grays because I wanted them to fall to the back. So I wanted them to be a little bit darker. So here I am going to shade in the sides of the cow to give it some roundness, and there you can see on that left hand side I pulled a little bit of the black from that spot over there into my cow, and that was an oopsie. But I try to fix it with my colorless blender. I do go in and scrub it pretty good, and I really don't think it's really that noticeable when you're just looking at the image as a whole. I think it looks fine. They're handmade cards. They're not supposed to be perfect. So now I'm just going to go and add some shadows around the muzzle up there, because that'll push the muzzle forward and that part of the face backwards. So you add the shadows there, and then softening the lines with my colorless blender. Okay, for the inside of I think I do the inside of the ears and then the muzzle next. And I'm using an R20. I had to put some more solution into my colorless blender because it wasn't juicy enough, and it wasn't softening those lines like I wanted it to. Okay, so now I tried putting a little bit of my light color in the ear first, and it didn't tone that R20 down the way I wanted it to, or give it the shadow area that I wanted, so I just went in over the R20, and that gave it the look that I wanted. So now I'm trying to be careful around those spots on the nose, the nostrils, but as you can see, I did over there on the right nostril bring in a little bit of that black But now I'm going to go in with my lighter, one of my lighter shades of gray, and to try and give it some roundness and some shadow areas, and try and help that spot where I pulled in the darker color. Okay, now I'm going to take some Nuvo Crystal drops in ebony, and I'm just going to put a little tiny drop on the eyes. This will raise the eyes and give it a glossy look and just kind of bring her to life. And I just tap that from the back to help it settle down and not have any peaks. So now I'm taking my cloud stencil from MFT with tumbled glass distressing. This is regular stressing. You can see my little mini ink cube there. And I'm just making some clouds on a piece of Neenah 80-pound Solar White. And now I'm taking Stormy Sky and I'm going around the edge. And I didn't tap off my blender before going in on the right hand side, and I got a little blotchy on the right hand side, but I'm going to fix that. We're going to fix that. Everything is fixable. And then I just filled in the bottom with that Stormy Sky just to give a little bit of a blue down towards the bottom. And actually, once I get my grass put on there, it really can't even see that part at all. The grass, I used Lawn Fawn's wavy grass. I'll have it linked over on my blog. And I'm also using Lawn Fawn's Scripty Hello, and I'm cutting that out using my little sidekick. I love this for small die cuts because I can just have it right on my desktop, and it makes doing die cuts on video a lot easier. So I just cut out two just to give it a little bit more dimension. This is heavyweight cardstock. It's 100-pound cardstock from Simon. I think it's Banana, but I will have that link below. And I'm just going to use some Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, little dotted around, and I'm going to stack these two together, and that'll just give my sentiment some dimension on my card. And you know, you can do 3, or more, but 2 is actually plenty when you're using 100-pound cardstock. It makes for a pretty thick sentiment. So I'm using that same Banana cardstock to back my scene with. And now I'm going to take my Signo white gel pen, and you saw me just run it on my finger just to get it started flowing to put the little dots in the eyes. And so now I'm going to take some warm grays, and I'm just going to put some shadow area on the ground. And so she doesn't look like she's just floating in midair, that she is actually standing on the ground. And so then I'm trying to decide where to put my hello. I thought I would put my hello over there where I have that ink blotchy problem, but it didn't really look right over the top of my cow. So I took out this new stamp set from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm going to use that little Farm Fresh flower image, and that's going to cover up my blotchiness on the right hand side of my card. So I'm just going to stamp this out with some Simon Says Intense Black ink, which is Copic friendly, and just give a good impression, stamp that down, and get some more Copic markers out. I'm trying to keep the color palette simple. Basically the black, shades of pink, got some greens and yellow, so and blue in the sky, but very simple color palette. I think when you have a simpler color palette, it makes the cards more pleasing to look at. They're not as busy, and then you can really focus in on your main images on your cards. So just using some pinks to color these up. These are small kind of tulip buds, so I went in and put in my shadows first, and then went with my mid-tone, and then I'm coming in with my lightest color. And I do that a lot whenever it's a small area to color. I do better in small areas if I do dark to light. If I've got a bigger area to color, I'll do light to dark, back to light again. And here wanted to kind of explain what I did. The the stamped image didn't continue the stems down into the glass jar. So, but it won't be as vibrant. The stems won't be as vibrant looking into the jar. So I took my lightest color to extend those down, and then I used the darker up top for shadows and stems and things. So I think that made it look a little bit more realistic. And I took a tuxedo Memento black marker and went over that Farm Fresh because it didn't stamp real dark, and I didn't use my stamp positioner, so I couldn't restamp it because I'm not good at eyeballing those things up and stamping back over the top. I just can't do that. So good lesson learned. I should have used my stamp positioner, especially since that was a brand new stamp set that never been used. You usually need to stamp those a couple of times. So do as I say, not as I do, and new stamps, use your stamp positioner so you won't be sorry. So I coated the back of this little guy or girl, Brenda Bovine, with a generous amount of foam tape so it can go through the mail without getting crushed in any areas, and pop her up on top of my card. And then I'm going to use some more of that Nuvo Deluxe adhesive to glue my hello down on the bottom of the card. And sorry I got a little off screen there, but I was just gluing that down. I'm going to use some Deluxe adhesive just to glue my flowers down flat. And yeah, have them hanging over a little bit, and I will fix that in a minute. I'm using my Spectrum Noir clear sparkle overlay to go over the glass, and I will also use it on the hello too. Oh, and I got out a green Jelly Roll sparkle pen to go over these other little things that were in that vase. So here's my card base. It is Nina 110 pound, and I use my Teflon bone folder to reinforce the fold line there. It's so great, those Teflon bone folders, they just work so well. And then just my Scotch ATG to glue that all down. And here's where I'm going over the hello with my Spectrum Noir. Trying to get it a good coat of sparkle on there. I know it's hard to see in video and pictures, but it really is very sparkly in person. And then when that's done, I think I already did, I flipped it over and cut off those little pieces that were hanging over the edge. And that is my finished project. So please see the link in the video description below to go over to Quality Crafts and play along with this month's challenge Digi. Thanks for watching.